Over the winter, the radio in my car would no longer produce any sound from the speakers. I did some research online and found there is a little trick to reset the radio that you do by holding down 1, 4, and 8 on the number pad all at the same time. That little trick worked great for the next 3 weeks or so, but then the Porsche guys decided I wasn't worthy, and now no radio for me. I think the Bose Amplifier in my Cayenne is the problem, so today I'm going to replace it with a rebuilt unit. In order to replace the amplifier, there are a few interior panels that will need to come out. I don't know if the way I did it was necessarily the easiest or the quickest, but this is how I replaced mine, and hopefully it will help you. The amplifier is located behind this panel below the back window. In order to get this panel loose enough to pull it away from the window and access the amplifier, you will need to remove some other panels around it first. I first started by removing the panel for the tie-down hooks on the floor. Under the panel with the tie-down hooks are a few bolts that hold the panel covering the amplifier in place. You will need to remove this panel first before you can remove the panel covering the D-pillar. Well, I didn't film that, but what I did is I popped this cover off, and there's a Torx bit right behind there. And once you're able to remove this Torx bit, you can pull this whole unit out away. And the next thing we got to do is remove that Torx bit. And I'm thinking this whole assembly will come out, and then I have direct access right to the amplifier right there. So I'm now ready to remove the amplifier. I got this panel really loose. There are some clips down here that I just had to pop off, and now everything's really loose. That will give me enough access in there to pull the amplifier out, which is right here. So next thing I got to do is remove this connector, and then we have, looks like 4 bolts or nuts that are fastened to the amplifier that hold it on this mount, and then hopefully it'll just come right out. I wanted to show you guys how to remove this connector from the amplifier. It's kind of tricky. So right here's the handle for it, or lever, and you just pull on it, and you think as it gets tougher, you actually want to pull on it even harder. You won't break it. And see how it releases? Just kind of wiggle it off, and there you go. That's how you remove it. Now we just need to disconnect these 2 connectors right here, and this amplifier should come right out. Alright, I'm going to attempt to show you how to get this last connector off. All you do is just push in this little tab here and then pull this back. That should come right out. Come on. They don't give you a lot of wire to work with, that's for sure. I decided to remove the cover plate from my amplifier because I was curious what I would find inside. I was hoping to see something obvious that could be fixed, but I didn't see anything that looked bad. Everything looked really clean under there. Since repairing this thing is well beyond my skill level, I'll be sending it out to a rebuilder who specializes in repairing Bose amplifiers. I was quoted about $300 to repair this amplifier, and I should have it back within 2 weeks. 2 weeks have passed and I finally got my amplifier. It's ready to go. I asked him what he replaced, and he was kind of vague. He just said fiber optic power problem is what he said in the email. He wouldn't really go into too much detail. But they did put this security seal on the side, so unfortunately I can't open it up to see, if anything looks different in there. But let's go out in the garage and get this thing installed. First thing I'm going to do is try and connect these 2 lower connectors first. Then we'll mount it into place, tighten everything down, and then we'll test it. Alright, I got most of the connectors on, so I'm going to start bolting it down. Okay, I got the amplifier installed, so let's connect the main harness here. And then you just start pushing it on this lever, and it starts to lock itself in place. So I got all 4 bolts in, and let's go ahead and test it, see if it fires up. Alright, moment of truth. Stick the key in the ignition, fire it up, and turn the radio on. Sweet, I have sound. It sure is nice not seeing that error message pop up on my screen anymore. Radio's working good, so the only thing left to do is start reinstalling all these interior panels. I'm going to finish the amplifier install here because I'm thinking about replacing the rear hatch struts. I told myself I'd never replace them again because they seem to go bad every 2 to 3 years for me. But since I've been thinking about putting my Cayenne up for sale, to possibly trade it in on a Macan Turbo or Tesla Model Y, I thought it'd be wise to replace them. Hopefully this video will be helpful if you need to replace the amplifier in your Cayenne. I know it looked like a complex job to do all of this, but the fact is, it really wasn't that bad. Just time consuming. Just keep in mind that you really have to be careful when handling the plastic clips on all of the interior panels, because they are old and will break if not careful. As always, if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments section, and I'll do my best to answer them. So long.